What's up, guys? In today's video, we are breaking down a fire from the Fresno Fire Department. Now, many of you have sent this video to me asking me to break it down, but also some of you have asked, can you kind of translate what the incident commander is saying? He's using a lot of industry jargon. He's saying a lot of words that if you're unfamiliar with the fire service, you might not know exactly what he's talking about. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be breaking down the video as well as explaining as we go what exactly he's talking about and what exactly he's looking for. As always, if you want to watch the entire video without my commentary, I'll leave the link to the actual video below. But before we get into that, I want to talk about firefighter furnace. If you're unfamiliar with firefighter furnace, if you're interested in getting bigger, faster, stronger, more fit to either become a firefighter, maybe you are already a firefighter, maybe you work in police, corrections, or maybe you just want to be more fit in your day-to-day life, I highly encourage you to check out firefighter furnace. Donnie over there has years and years of experience in the fitness industry. He knows what he's doing, and he's created an awesome program with a community of like-minded people to help you get more fit. I will leave the link in the description below as well. Use the offer code FirefighterNow20, FirefighterNow20 to get 20% off for life.
Residential fire, 4 engines, 1, 5, 3, truck 11, 9, battalion 4, zone 51572, Grant Cross of Fresno and Howard. Report of a vacant house on fire. Law enforcement is also at scene.
Communications, engine 1's arrived. We have a single-story, single-family residence with heavy smoke on fire showing out of the Charlie Delta corner. Engine 1's going to be pulling lines. Stand by for a 360.
Engine 1 copy.
So first thing, awesome job by this dispatcher. Very clear, very concise of what was on scene, who was there, being that the police officers were already there, and great relay back from whoever that incident commander was going to be. I'm assuming it was the officer in that engine. As you saw when you pulled up, you saw that there were a couple cops on the front porch, and they said the fire was in the Charlie Delta corner. Now, this is something I've talked about in previous videos, and it's worth mentioning again. You will hear, especially in this video, they'll refer to the sides of the house by letters. The Alpha is the front door facing the street. The Bravo is the left side of the house, the Charlie is the back of the house, and the Delta is the right side of the house. Now, I've gotten some comments and some messages from people in the past saying, well, that's stupid, you shouldn't use that, why don't you just say left, right? Well, that depends on where the responding engine or truck is going to be parking. If there's on a street behind there, the front of the structure to them will be on the back of the house, and if you say left or right, they're not sure exactly which one you're talking about. Looks like most of the fire at this point, this fire looks like it spreads pretty quickly, is back in the Charlie Delta corner. So if you're facing the house, the back right corner of the house. Let's see how these guys do. They do a great job, and they get in there and get this victim quickly.
There's somebody in there. Driving engine, come on in. We are in full rescue mode. Rescue mode. 3 copy.
So you heard him say rescue mode. That's obviously fairly self-explanatory. That means that they know that they have a victim that's in there, and they're going to, their primary job right now is to try to get that victim out. It looks like right now there's only one engine company on scene. Obviously there's going to be more coming here pretty soon, but this engine company does a good job, and they focus. These cops also did a good job. It's also worth giving note that the cops identified that there was somebody in there, and they're able to point out exactly where this victim is. So good for the cops for doing that as well.
Engine 5 has arrived. Would you like me to take command?
Engine 5, take command.
So, sorry to keep stopping this so much, but you heard him say Engine 5, take command. So, if there's a more senior officer that arrives on scene, usually what they will do is they will take command from whoever is there. So, if you're the first engine that shows up and you're a lieutenant on that engine, you are going to be the scene officer, the command officer, until somebody else more senior arrives. And a lot of times, and it's not always, but a lot of times, what the more senior officer, maybe it's a chief or a captain or somebody else, when they arrive on scene, they will make sure they say that over the radio so everybody knows who the new commanding officer on the scene is, so they know to listen for that if there's an event or something like that. So from now on, I think they said it was Engine 5. He has now taken over command from the previous, I want to say it was Engine 42, I don't remember at this point, from the previous officer.
Copy. Engine 5 is going to take command. Our priority is going to be remove all victims. We're going to be rescue mode. Order me a second alarm and 2 additional ambulances.
Copy, second alarm, 2 additional units.
So let's talk about that for a second. People will hear the expression, it was a 1 alarm, 2 alarm, 3 alarm, 4 alarm fire. Think of alarms as layers of an onion. When a fire or an incident alarm or tone goes off for anything, usually there will be an immediate responding group. So for example, in this case, it's a house fire. The call comes in as a structure fire. So maybe they'll dispatch automatically for any structure fire call, 1 engine, 1 truck, and an ambulance. Well, when you say a second alarm, you go 1 step further and you keep going out with every alarm. If you work for a suburb or a smaller agency, you might use more mutual aid. In Fresno, I'm assuming they're a very big department, so they have a lot more resources than maybe a smaller department. But that's usually what that means is when they talk about multiple alarms, that onion is just getting peeled back more and more and then more, and they're calling for more resources. So here, it appears as though there was just your standard fire call, and now that they realize they're in rescue mode and they're trying to rescue a victim, they're calling for more resources to come to the scene.
Let's go and have you go ahead and open this structure open. That's going to be forcible entry.
Truck 9 copies. We're about 30 seconds out opening up the structure.
Battalion 4's arrived.
Battalion 4 arrived.
Units responding to the grand incident. 360 has been completed. We have heavy fire involvement on the Charlie Delta corner. We do have fire impinging on lines down. Go ahead and give me emergency alert tones and make working fire notifications.
Okay, before they go into that, they talked about the 360 is complete. If you're unfamiliar with what a 360 is, whoever the officer in charge, their job is as soon as they get out of the truck or whenever they show up on the scene, their job is to walk around the entire scene to look for any issues, any hazards. They mentioned that there are wires down, I think they said on the Charlie side, so maybe some power lines came down in the back of the house. That's pretty common, so there's that. The second thing is they said that there's a truck en route for forcible entry. Looks like these engine guys are still the ones doing the forcible entry. A lot of people don't know this. Truck companies and engine companies, and this is very generally speaking, I'm sure I'm going to get comments from somebody saying that, well, that's not the case where I work. I'm speaking very generally when I say this. Engine companies, their main priority is usually to go attack the fire, spray water on the fire. Engines have more hoses, more water typically than ladder trucks. Ladder trucks are more responsible for ventilation, forcible entry, searching for victims. Ladder trucks have a slightly different priority. Now, obviously, people that work in ladder companies and truck companies can do all the same things that engine companies can and vice versa, but that's typically what those different trucks and those different units specialize in.
Notifications made.
All units responding to the grand incident. We do have lines down on the Charlie side. Lines down. Communications, Grand Command. We do have 1 victim removed. I'm going to need EMS to come up to engine 1 for medical.
Copy EMS to engine 1.
Units responding to the grand incident. We're going to be switching to a defensive mode. I repeat, a defensive mode. Our priority is going to be to protect exposure on the Bravo side.
So you just heard him say there, we are switching to a defensive mode. Most fires are attacked in one of 2 ways. Either you are in an offensive mode where you are going after the fire, you are going into the structure to find the seat of the fire and put the fire out, or you're going into a defensive mode. Now, when you switch into a defensive mode when you're fighting a fire, typically that means that you're going to be backing everyone out of the structure if there's anyone in there, and you're going to be protecting the exposures. In this case, it looks like this is in a residential neighborhood, so there's some houses around. You're going to want to protect those houses. You're just going to want to protect whatever else is around there. A good way to do that is either to cool off those exposures because the radiant heat from the fire can literally melt siding off of a house, or just to put up what's called a water curtain and you just put up a large barrier of water. So they're switching to a defensive mode. It makes sense. It looks like this house is, I didn't really get a good look at, but it looks like it was pretty far gone. It looks like a lot of their resources are being focused on this victim right now.
All units responding. We do have a PAR that has been conducted by face-to-face. We do have all fire personnel outside of the unit. Right now, repeating defensive mode with the priority of protecting the Bravo exposure.
Hey, we're doing good.
So this incident commander is doing an awesome job making sure everybody is accounted for and everybody knows what the plan is. He just said something that you don't hear very often. We have a PAR conducted by a face-to-face. If you're unfamiliar with the expression PAR, that's an acronym that stands for Personnel Accountability Report. When there are multiple crews at a fire or really at any incident, there's going to be one person that's in charge of that crew. A lot of times it's a line officer, a lieutenant, a captain, or maybe even just a senior firefighter. That person is responsible to know where the other people in his crew, maybe it's 2 other people, maybe it's 1 other person, maybe it's 3 other people if you're a 4-man crew, know where they are all the time. And a lot of times when there's a bunch of people at a scene like this, it can get very hectic and chaotic. So what this scene officer just said is there's been a PAR that's been conducted by face-to-face. 2 officers looked at each other and have said, yes, I can account for all of my people. I can account for all of my people. Everybody's accounted for. We're good. We're all out of the structure. And now we're going to focus on protecting the Bravo side of the exposure.
I got a good strong radio. Keep breathing, buddy. Keep breathing.
So awesome job by these firefighters. Honestly, I have to say this was well done by everybody across the board. This was well done by the incident commander. This was well done by the actual firefighters, the engine company and the trunk company that rescued the victim. And also, I have to give credit where credit's due to the cops. I know firefighters bust the chops of police officers quite a bit because they'll come in and break windows and get in the way and park in the way. And a lot of times that is true. But these guys did a really good job staying out of the way, identifying the fact that there was a victim in there and pointing to exactly where they needed to cut a hole in the side of the house to get that victim out. So as always, I hope you found this useful and helpful. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.